Hi, my name is Mark Walker. I'm the editorial director at Fintech Times, and we're here in Riyadh at 24 Fintech. I'm going to start off by asking my interviewee to introduce himself to you, the audience.
Hello, thank you for the invite and very nice to meet you guys. This is Fahad Anteet. I'm the managing director for Tap Payments in Saudi Arabia.
Fantastic. So, for the people that don't know who Tap Payments are, give us a little overview of what you do and the services you offer.
So, Tap Payments is a financial entity licensed by the Central Bank of Saudi Arabia. We started in Saudi in 2018. Before that, the group was created in 2014, 10 years ago. Tap Payments mainly focusing at helping e-commerce businesses, starting from a small cupcake seller at home up to a large enterprise like an insurance aggregator or a food delivery platform and airlines. And we empower them to accept online payments in all the means, whether it's through digital invoices or different payment methods like card payments, device payments like Apple Pay, and buy now, pay later alternative payments like our partner Stabi.
Fantastic. And obviously, so since you've been here since 2018, we're now in 2024. I guess a lot of progress, a lot of change has happened in that period of time. Give me a little bit of an overview of how things have progressed in that period.
Definitely, the central bank and the technology arm of the central bank, Saudi Payments, have invested a lot on the payment infrastructure in Saudi. So when we came to Saudi, there was no payment regulation framework that licensed something, an entity, a fintech like Tap. We used to operate under banks as a technology provider. This took us to, which introduced us to the central bank at that time, and they introduced something called the sandbox, a regulatory sandbox where if there is no licensing framework that you operate in with the central bank, you go into that sandbox, you operate, and then the regulations and the framework was introduced for payment service providers. We were the first e-commerce aggregator to be licensed by the Central Bank of Saudi in 2020 after graduating from the sandbox. That's the first part. So there was a big maturity curve from no regulations to regulations and the right licensing framework. We have been very close with the central bank since then. On the ecosystem side and the business side, the central bank have also invested in introducing e-commerce and debit, the local debit scheme called MEDA, which was not enabled, and it had 30 million cards. So all the transactions before that used to go through international schemes like Visa and MasterCard, which always pushed the alternative payment methods like cash on delivery to eat up 60-70% of the ecosystem, which drove friction, refunds. It didn't enable the right speed and the right growth for e-commerce in the region. When online payments was introduced for MEDA, this helped us and helped the merchants to pick up the numbers. Of course, this was followed by COVID, the more focus and investment on e-commerce. So we were lucky to be coming to the Saudi market in the same time, and we have seen the right growth momentum with the regulators and the ecosystem of merchants.
Yeah, and I guess in say some of the more developed financial service areas such as Europe, we've seen a progression from using sort of cards to NFC and a little bit of wallets. Is it the same sort of process here in Saudi, or are you leapfrogging a number of those methods?
In fact, Saudi have crossed most of the global markets in terms of technology adoption and digital adoption of payments. Apple Pay had the best launch globally of Apple on device payments and on retail face-to-face payments, so in-app payments and retail. So there is a huge adoption for digital payments. There is a big adoption of NFC. More than 95% of the transactions that happens in the retail side today are on NFC basis. And on the e-commerce side, there is almost a 40% plus portion that goes into device payments like Apple Pay. So there is big adoption, and the market is eager for that. In fact, the central bank just released 2 days ago that Samsung Pay will be introduced in Saudi within Q4. So there is big adoption from consumers, and there is a big push from the regulator to adopt such new technologies.
Thinking a little bit about payments. Payments for many is seen as kind of like the bedrock of a fintech ecosystem on which other subsectors of fintech can be developed. Is that something that you've also seen within the region, where payments have been the payment infrastructure has been a gateway to lending products, to financing products, and everything else?
Payments is one of the key pillars of the e-commerce ecosystem. So with introducing payments, you can document your transactions, you can document your acceptance, you can position your receivables in a way that can enable you to access lending. So we work closely with our merchants, our partners, to make sure that we are enabling the right technologies or support they need, whether from different acceptance channels or even getting the right partners like lending partners to offer these kind of solutions. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. It's kind of, as you said, it facilitates lots of other types of use case stories and that type of thing. And I was thinking back to the future. Obviously, what is tap payments going to look like in a year's time? What's the main things that you're focusing on for growth?
So our main focus is doubling down on Saudi. We are growing the team. We're working closely with the regulator to scale, to upgrade our license and serve more segments. We're working closely with our merchants to add more products and services that fits their needs. And that's the main focus. The market is growing big time, and we want to make sure we meet the expectations of our merchants and partners. I think there's a huge room of growth for our merchants towards regional and global growth, and that's something that we're focusing on too, how to make sure we give them the regional acceptance and we unify any kind of payment methods or payment solutions for them. As I mentioned, partnerships with alternative payment methods like buy now, pay later, or partnership with lending providers like a lending company that can offer some lending for acceptance or receivables. These kind of areas that we're focusing on for our merchants. And stay tuned for our new product, inshallah.
Okay, that'll be exciting. Final question. Obviously, we're here at 24 FinTech. This is the first event. It is an interesting event. What's your reactions to the event?
The event was very well organized. The central bank and the other authorities have invested a lot in getting the right ecosystem on board. It is the best kind of events that are specialized, get all the thought leaders into one place, all the companies and investors and enablers, operators into one hat. Organization was great, and we hope that this kind of event continues and scale.
Fantastic. Fahad, thank you very much for joining me here.
Thank you for hosting me. It was really nice talking to you.